this is where you want to go.
Welcome back to my channel. I'm the Amastorian, and this time I'm back with another book series review. This time on the Farseer trilogy by Robin Hobb. Now this book series has a few years on its back, but that's not a bad thing. This is one of the best series I've ever read. And by the way, exercise the like button, okay? It helps me a lot to know if you like these. Well, who is Robin Hobb? Robin Hobb is a pseudonym for Margaret Astrid Lindholm Ogden. She was born 1952. And it's not that uncommon that people write under a different name. It does happen now and then. So let's just be clear on that. It's a pseudonym. But what is this book series about, really? Well, it's a bit much. Yeah, it's a lot. Inheritance. It's about legit and illegitimate children. It's about the king's right and power. It's about right and wrong. And it's about transsexuality, if you can believe it. Let me break this down for you. The fool in this saga, he's only named the Fool. He doesn't really get the name that we see in the series. He is described as a man, but he's also in the saga thought of as a woman by another woman, and he's also accused of being in love with Chivalry, the main character of the saga, Chivalry. And let's get back to legit and illegitimate children. Well, Chivalry is the illegitimate son of Prince Chivalry. Yeah, they name children after characteristics they want the children to have. So, King Shrewd wanted his son to be chivalrous, so he named him Chivalry. So, there you go. But his son, Chivalry's son, illegitimate son, did not get a real name. He was Prince Chivalry's son, so in the Swedish version he's called Chivalry's son, directly translated. Fitz I can't really translate, I don't know what it really means, so well, I don't know if that translation is really good or not. But in the English version he's called Fitz Chivalry. And the country, six duchess, where King Shrewd rules, well, they are 6 duchesses. So, therefore the name 6 Duchess. He has several other sons, or rather Prince Verity and Prince Regal. Now, Verity is honest. He's honest and he is a good man. He's a good soldier, basically. And while Prince Regal is the main antagonist in the whole saga. Can you really say that one child is your illegitimate heir or not? Is that right? Is it wrong? Just because you're not married to the mother, is the child illegitimate then? Or not? Is that right or wrong? that is something that sort of becomes a focal point in this saga, and still it does not, because it's in the saga it's just assumed, yeah, illegitimate son, no right to just about anything, you're just a burden. You're a shameful burden, and that is sort of fits his sort of life. He's a shameful burden for his father. So that burden falls on Fitz himself. And inheritance, basically he has none. He has no inheritance since he is illegitimate, and he's also, since he is illegitimate, he is really just a burden, and therefore if he is not contributes and is very loyal to the king here, he will be murdered himself just to get rid of this threat. So how can he be loyal and be a service to the king? Well, by becoming the king's tool, which is exactly what he is. He is the king's tool, or rather his knife, his dagger in the dark, his assassin, which is why the first 2-3 books is called The Assassin's Apprentice, Royal Assassins, and Assassin, and the last one is The Assassin's Quest. Sort of see a theme here. Now, does he really like his job? No, he doesn't. As a matter of fact, his job sort of breaks apart his, not only his soul and body and everything, he sort of, it breaks apart his life and his happiness. But what about the king's right and power? Does the king really have any right to demand that his illegitimate grandson is supposed to become an assassin for him? Is that really ethical? Is that moral? I would say no. But also, in this saga, that is the way the world is. If an illegitimate heir in this world is not completely loyal and being of service, he is a burden, and not only a burden, he is a threat and needs to be taken care of so it doesn't become a bigger threat. But still, is this really correct? Well, if we look in history, it's not that far off, actually. In history, illegitimate children was a burden. Not only a burden, it was a big burden. It was such a big burden that many mothers actually killed their own children because they couldn't handle having an illegitimate child, because there was so much trouble with having them. It was so bad that mothers actually killed their own children because of it. It was really, really bad. So can we then say that this is far off from actual truth in history? Not that far. Really. And that is the really scary part here. It's not that far from actual truth. When we look at the more fantastical sides here, there are two types of magic. The skill, which is a mind, sort of mind's controlling power-ish thingy that extends from one person to another, and you can either give someone a message or read someone's thoughts, or give him nightmares, or give him bad temper, whatever. You can influence someone else's mind slightly. Or the other type of magic is called the wit. And the wit is sort of firstly a emotional connection to life, or to other people and animals and life itself. If you have the wits, you can detect life around you. And on a deeper level, you can create a bond to an animal, which creates a sort of psychic link that makes you perceive and communicate with that animal on a very intimate level. Now, the wit is considered a perversion and a non-approved magic that is punishable by death, quite horribly, by being hanged over water, then chopped to pieces and burned, I think. Why the hell you would hang someone over water, I don't know. But that's the way it is. While the skill is the royal family's honor to wield this skill. And it's considered the height of power and grace to have the skill. Now, why is one magic better than another? Still, I would claim that this is not that far off from the truth. Also, if someone in power has a power, he will claim that this is right and true, and if someone else has a power that he doesn't have, he will claim that, that's not good, don't use that. Why? Because he doesn't want someone else to have a power he doesn't have. That is dangerous to the king, to the one in control, to let someone else have a power of any kind that he cannot control. So, this law sort of comes from controlling power by itself. Is this book series any good? Yes, it is. It's really freaking good, okay? Really freaking good. I love this book series. Oh man, I love this. And honest to God, when I read, it's not actually one series, it's a series of series. I'm gonna make on the rest too, and do on the rest of them as well. But honest to God, I cried when I read this from the beginning. It is such a sad, heart-rending story, and it's so good. It's very well written, and it's not many plot holes. The only real plot holes I can see is that Robin Hobb doesn't really seem to understand military equipment and skills and so on in the Middle Ages. Nobody seems... The Fitz doesn't really use any armor. He literally disregard armor when he goes into battle as a roseman on a ship. Why the hell would he disregard armor when he knows I'm going into battle? Well, according to the book, he is disregarding it because it's better to die by a wound than drown by your armor if you fall off the ship. Well, if you fall off the ship, you're gonna drown anyway, probably. So it doesn't really matter then, in my opinion. Another thing is that no one is using shields or spears. The only weapons we see in the book series is swords and bows. and bows and arrows and swords. That's the only weapons we see. Nothing else. Oh, and staffs for training for swords. That's all. Which is historically correct. They used staff for training for sword fighting. That is correct. But still, something else? A spear, a shield, an axe. Oh, sorry, axes as well. Axes as well. And clubs, actually. Yeah, clubs too. At one point. And that will be it for now, I think. I highly recommend you to read this series. Please like the Facebook page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video if you thought it was good, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.
Thanks so much for watching. Like and subscribe.